By now, you've probably heard my magic wand story. It's a brand that's been part of my personal journey for more than 20 years. But no matter how many times I sing Magic Wand's praises, I'll never be able to fully capture the story of this incredible brand. Well, now journalist and author Kate Sloan just completed a limited audio series documenting the history and impact that Magic Wand has created over the last 56 years. It's called Making Magic. And the series chronicles Magic Wand's incredible brand story through interviews with nearly 40 experts, performers, business owners, educators, and fans. So I got a sneak preview of the series, and what I loved is that Kate weaves together snippets from all their interviews into this amazing story arc. She covers Magic Wand's journey from appliance store massager to its legendary influence on culture and sexual independence, and it's all just fascinating. The first episodes of Making Magic are available now at makingmagicseries.com or on all popular podcast platforms. Just search for Making Magic or visit makingmagicseries.com today. Thanks for listening to Sex with Emily. I'm Dr. Emily, and on today's show, I'm talking about orgasm denial. What does that mean, and how can you use it to focus on all your pleasure? Plus, I'm answering your sex and relationship questions. Topics include, what is orgasm denial, and how can you make it super hot? So you like to peg your partner, but he's not as into it. What can you do to make it more enjoyable? So sex in public seems to be one of your partner's kinks. What are some workarounds? And how to help support and deal with a partner who has sexual trauma? All this and more. Thanks for listening.
Look into his eyes. They're the eyes of a man obsessed by sex. Eyes that mock our sacred institutions. Bedroom eyes, they call them in a bygone day.
Hey, Emily, you got a boyfriend? Because my man E here, he just got his heart broken. He thinks you're kind of cute.
A girl's gotta have her standards. Oh my.
Do women know about shrinkage?
Isn't it common knowledge?
What do you mean, like laundry? It shrinks?
Can we not talk about sex so much?
Are you kidding me?
Oh my God, it feels so good.
Being bad feels pretty good. But you know, Emily's not the kind of girl you just play with.
You're listening to Sex with Emily. We're talking about sex, relationships, and everything in between. For more information, check out sexwithemily.com. And you can also find us on all social media. It is Sex with Emily across the board. All right, intentions with Emily. I ask everyone to set an intention, if it feels good to you, at the top of the show, to think about, what you'd like to get out of listening to this episode and how it could help you. So maybe it's like, I just want to find some new moves to add to my repertoire in the bedroom. Or maybe you're like, orgasm denial, what is that? Could that help me have more pleasure in the bedroom? My intention was to give you lots of ideas in one episode to help you add to your sexual tool belts and give you just more ways to get pleasure, because we all deserve it. All right, guys, enjoy the show. I want to do a little fantasy breakdown for you, okay? So we've done this before. We talked about some fantasies, some common fantasies, maybe not so common fantasies. So an actual step-by-step, and maybe pique your curiosity about something you want to try. So this is orgasm denial. That's actually a fantasy. So here's what it is. So it's a little bit kinky, right? It's when you're with, it could be done during solo play or with a partner, but kinky with a partner. And essentially they're denying you from orgasm. So it's a power play thing. They're, you're getting close, but they don't allow you, you have to ask their permission to finish. They don't allow you to finish until they say you can finish. And maybe they're teasing you. They're coming in and they're playing with your genitals and they're arousing you and they pull away. And then they come forth and they pull away. And it's that anticipation, right? That makes it really hot. So here's an example. Like, let's say things are getting super hot and heavy in the bedroom and you're getting turned on and your partner tells you, like, don't move. And maybe they tie your hands to the bed, consensually tie your hands to the bed. And then they start to touch your body all over. They know what feels good, right? They're kissing your neck, your breast, this goes for either one, men or women. They're kissing your thighs, everything, but they're not kissing your genitals. Nope. You want them to, because the closer you get, like the teasing and the anticipation, maybe they're tracing their tongue or their fingers around your inner thighs, your knees and your neck, and they're tracing down, and maybe they're even blowing on your genitals, or like doing something like that, but they're not touching it. And then you get to the point where you're so aroused that you're like begging, right? You're begging. You're like, God, please touch me. I want you to touch me. And then maybe they start. They tease you. They're like, okay, I'm going to start. I'm going to use my tongue, or I'm going to use a toy. I'm going to put your penis in my mouth. And then I'm getting closer and about to orgasm. And then boop, they stop. They stop touching you. So you're delaying it. And they repeat it a few times. So you get the rise and the fall of the arousal and the turn on, which is actually, if you think about it, really hot. And I think that we don't often play in this realm because we think, well, I just want to orgasm. I want to make sure I orgasm. I don't want to fuck with that. I'm already turned on. But there's something to be said for this, anticipation of pleasure. Like that's why it is a really sexy thing to do, because when you build up and you go slow, it can feel amazing. And with a partner, and you have to be strict. It's kind of like, okay, babe, like I can't, even if I'm begging you, you can't allow me to orgasm. And you're giving them a little power. It allows you to be more submissive. And so I think that can be hot. Now, if you're on your own, I also think if you can kind of play the devil's advocate to yourself and really deny yourself of pleasure, it works sort of like edging during masturbation, where you're starting to, maybe, and I am all for teasing ourselves when we're getting aroused, and like not going right for that's my vibrator impression. Knock it out and you're done and I'm out and I got my orgasm, pop it off, which I'm glad you are going to have an orgasm. But when you learn to tease yourself, you also are learning different erogenous zones. You could think, oh, I didn't know that the inner thighs or like my pubic mound area is really a turn on for me, or the back of my thighs, or anything that feels good. Touching yourself can do that to you. It's sort of like feather tickles and different ways to touch. And then you realize that, and then you like are denying yourself. And then maybe you sort of touch yourself, and you're getting close to orgasm, and you got to be strong enough to pull away and to let it build and to let it drop. And so you're teaching yourself orgasm control, and you're teaching yourself ejaculatory control. This is what we tell a lot of men to do who are struggling with ejaculating before they want to. And that's a great way to do it, is just typically edging, like where you're getting to the point of no return and then you're slowing it back down. I love this fantasy because I think it's something new. It's something easy to try with your partner that's just kind of fun. And doesn't that sound hot? Like I get turned on thinking about it.
Yeah, I do this to myself sometimes, but I really want to try it with a partner.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain, I think, in certain senses when you're with a partner, especially if it's in the moment.
Well, I think you discuss it ahead of time. The most important thing is to discuss it with your partner before you bring it into the bedroom, because let's be honest, it could be really annoying to your partner that doesn't know you're trying to do it.
Yeah.
They're like, what are you doing? Where are you going with your mouth on my vagina? Vulva. Why did you leave the room? But if you know about it and you're like, okay, it'd be really hot if we do this orgasm denial. And we've actually have 2 great blogs on our website. So talk to them ahead of time and let them know why. Like it's a time to explore new sensations, which you guys, we don't do this enough. We do not. We are so limited in the kind of touch we think it feels good and the kind of the positions that we do. And there's just so much to it. So when you're doing this orgasm denial sensation or fantasy, you are exploring new sensations. Play with different pressures and touches and textures and temperatures. Play with some ice and play with some, massage candles, feathers, a necklace, vibrators, blindfold. This is when you can play with all these sensations that can feel amazing and lead to your arousal. Now, this isn't like an excuse to be like, I just don't want to give my partner an orgasm and I'm going to tie him up and leave the room. So it's a shared experience.
You're so messed up.
And the truth is, right, I'm tying you up and I'm going to Walgreens. For errands.
Oh, no.
I don't know. I'm going to run an errand.
It's terrible.
No, terrible. That's not what you do here. So I think it's a shared experience. And so in a way, it might seem selfish, but it's super sexy because all of your focus is on your partner's pleasure and the pleasure of teasing them and bringing them to arousal and in a different way. Mm-hmm. And like you really will discover other ways. You're like, I didn't know how great it felt for you to like tease my neck or play with just my left nipple and not my right, because how else would we know? But if we don't play. So this is kind of a playful way to turn on your partner. Orgasm denial.
Yeah, I like this because for me, one of my goals, which is to be able to orgasm without touching myself.
The mindgasm.
The mindgasm or the breathgasm or however. And you do realize that the longer you go without actually touching yourself, like your body parts just start to feel like crazy awesome, but cool. And you're just, because it is that like you are frustrated with yourself because you're like, no, I really want to touch myself. But if you're like resilient, one, it teaches you willpower.
Yes.
For
which
sure.
is hard to have that willpower.
It's really hard. So try to channel this if you're trying not to eat that 5th slice of pizza. And then 2, it really does. Like you realize how much that anticipation actually feels good. Like the climax is just the climax, but like the buildup is awesome.
Buildup is magic. I mean, that's when people say like, how do I have multiple orgasms, or how do men have multiple orgasms? Like it's about this teasing and knowing like your edge and stuff. So I think you guys should check out the blog and talk to your partner about this, or do it tonight when you masturbate.
I have a question about mindgasms.
Yeah.
Would a wet dream be considered a form of a mindgasm?
Yeah, it would. Thinking about it because you're having a dream about a sexual activity. It would be an indirect mindgasm.
Nice.
Yeah.
Just had to ask.
We're talking about thinking yourself off, breathing yourself off. Totally possible. It's my goal too. I haven't worked towards it yet.
Right. I've
not enough.
Taking breaks. It's hard because you really do just want to.
You just want to knock one out.
Exactly.
But the reason why I'm telling you about this orgasm denial thing is because like I know that you all want to have different kind of sex. I know that sex is going to get boring and stale and rote with the same person over and over again. Even if you've been with 10 people and the sex is the same, which is typically what happens. You're like, this is just like having sex with this person. I'm doing the same positions. This is something that is. Actually, I love this orgasm denial because it has all the built-in elements of slowing down, connecting with your partner, exploring all the other erogenous zones, and more likely to lead to orgasm. Like, to me, great elements of a fantasy right there, of a fun thing to do.
And I think it takes the pressure, like, or the focus of goal-oriented orgasms, like, off the tape. Like, it makes it easier, like, to just be in your body.
Right, because you're not focused on orgasm, you're focused on pleasure, which is what we want you to do anyway. Like, I don't want sex to be this linear thing where you're only focusing on orgasm. Let's be honest, we all know that that's what we're looking for. But when you let go of that attachment to the orgasm, you're more likely to have one. And then you're like, wow, I can't wait for... Then you have other things on the menu. When your partner says, what feels good? You can say, oh, I actually really liked the way you were touching me the other night when we were doing that thing. And so it's not like you have to... It's a learning tool. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to get into your calls. Tracy, 30, in Utah. Hi, Tracy. How can I help?
Hi.
Hi. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, no problem. My husband and I have been together for 8 years, and when we have anal, when I penetrate him, it hurts him.
Oh, okay.
We have done a lot of different things. Anal ease, which kind of numbs everything.
And it still hurts?
And then we approach it really slow. Yeah. Well, he just says it's uncomfortable.
Well, did he ask for it?
And we approach it really slow.
Right. So why are you doing it? Does he say he still wants to do it?
Well,
he
it's
still wants you to do
I like. And so it's not necessarily something that he wants necessarily. It's something that I like. And so he goes with it.
I see.
For me.
Okay. Well, maybe you just need a smaller toy.
We have a very small toy. I mean, like fingers, nothing.
Okay, so Tracy, what is it that you like about it? Like, what part of it, what is it giving to you in that moment, you know?
It's naughty.
It's naughty. It's taboo.
It's not happening to me.
Right. It's like, it's not so taboo.
I mean, I like anal too, and that's great, and it's fine with me and stuff, but it's just switching things up. But, you know.
I hear you. So you want him to enjoy it, right? So I feel like, do you think he's tensing up? Is he, because really that's...
Yes.
Okay, so he's got to breathe. It helps if he's already aroused and maybe he already has an orgasm or he's really turned on and he's ready for it. And you use a ton of lube, like so much lube and then more lube. And you use good lube and you reapply it. And then you got to he's got to make sure that he's breathing. Like you breathe, you inhale, you exhale when you enter it, and he inhales when he's exhaling is when you can enter. So you know what I'm saying? Like you guys could do a breath thing. Inhale, pause, exhale, enter. And then he can be breathing with that and just make sure that he's relaxed. But if it's hurting him, we do want to stop. Like, do not do it if he's hurting. So I'm just trying to figure out, you want to do something taboo. Is there something else that you could maybe do that would give you just as much pleasure and him pleasure? Like,
we are all for trying new things.
What about like some other kind of like penis, like a vibrating cock ring or something, or like a penis vibrator, like a penis stimulator, like the hot octopus is a cool one, like something that he could get turned on and aroused to help him relax also. So if he's already has an erection and you do it, that could help tying him up.
That is a good idea.
Yeah, there you go. Full of them. Full of good ideas. So check it out. Have
Thank
some
you.
more. You're so welcome, Tracy. Let me know how it goes. Here to help.
It's interesting.
It is interesting that she wants it. It's taboo. This is what I'm talking about. Well, why does she want it? Well, what is it? Because he's having pain and we can give you some adjusts, but what do you want to feel in the moment that you're having sex? Like, what is it about wearing a strap on and penetrating your partner's anus that is, and she's saying it's taboo. It's powerful. It makes her feel a certain way. So now that we know that, we can give you some other things that might give you that same power. Maybe there's some kind of chastity thing.
Yeah, I was
or
trying
she
to
could
think.
lock up his penis in a cage. It's not like I was thinking before I actually saw chastity belts. I actually pictured like a bird cage with a lock on it.
No, literally same thing. I imagined a giant metal diaper type situation.
Right.
And that's why I was like, I couldn't figure it out. I was like, how do you pee
Right.
if you have this on?
Right.
And then I saw one and I was like, oh, that's not even scary.
No, it just kind of
looks
looks
like a slinky.
It looks like a slinky, exactly, with a little lock on it. And that could be. It sounds like she might be into domination, dom sub, and maybe I'm sure he is too. If it's her husband, he's consenting. So maybe there's some other power play things they could look into.
Like she could tie him up.
She could tie him up,
and like maybe he's into spanking.
Maybe he wants to be spanked. That's taboo for many.
Maybe he wants to. Like maybe she can like do some orgasm denial with him, like while he's tied up or something.
Exactly. She can be like, you can't come yet. You can't come till I tell you to come.
It's like the best kind of torture.
Yes. Because you know you're going to get there eventually. And it makes the orgasm that much more intense and exciting. And it's fun and it's playful. And couples who engage in like whatever the spectrum of power play is, it could just be like words. Like, don't come till I tell you to come. It could be holding your hands above their head or pinning them back with your hands. It could be you're putting their cock in a cage. All that stuff counts on the spectrum of things that are, power play, dominant or submissive or taboo. Like all those things fall under that same umbrella. We could talk to Wendy, 31, in Los Angeles. Hi, Wendy. What's going on? How can I help?
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
I got you. Yep.
Okay. I just had a question. So my partner is very, I guess, is spontaneous, and he likes to have like sexual encounters in public places. And I mean, sometimes it's just not. It's not okay, it's not like the best place, know? So I just wanted to see if there's anything like that would be an alternative to that or still get the same kind of like excitement.
Yeah. Have you asked him what part of having sex in public turns him on? Like, is it that he could get caught? Is it that it's just taboo?
I think it's the whole getting caught thing because I've kind of like asked him like what is it about it, and he's just like, well, the fact that it's like anyone could come up at that moment or anyone could stop it
right
at time.
Okay, and I get it, and you don't want to do it like sitting in the wherever. Where does he want to do it that it doesn't work? Where did you guys do it that you felt bad? You felt like this is not cool?
Okay, so he has like a higher, I guess, truck, and like it's more visible, like to be able to see it, and like right outside of like a stop sign, he would like park, and he'd be like, oh, give me head at this time or whatever. So it's like where people are passing by.
Yeah. Well, Wendy, what are you into? What? Okay, I get it. I get the picture of him in the truck and you giving him a blowjob at the stop sign, and I want to know, Wendy, what do you want to do?
I mean,
what are you into?
I mean, I would want to, like make him enjoy the moment or like experience like whatever he wants. But it's just some places are not.
It's not safe or legal. So I would say like, what if it's just out? Like I'm trying to think because all of it is like, how about in like your backyard or I was going to say like in a car, but not a high car, not like a big truck parked on the side of the road or like in the driveway. It's a tough one if it's not what you're into because then you won't have any fun. So if he wants to be daring and try something different, like what about if you guys go to a hotel, like we've talked about this, like a balcony at a hotel or a rooftop.
Okay. Yeah.
It's kind of, like something like that where you're like, I don't know. I feel like, I don't want you to get forced to doing things you don't want to do. But you could also, there's some great toys now that are like remote control sex toys where you could control it with your phone. You could be wearing it. He could be wearing it. Like he could wear a cock ring. You could wear a panty vibe, like the Moxie from WeVibe. And you could be playing around with like being flirty in public. And like maybe you're in a restaurant, you're both wearing the toys and you're like playing with the apps and having, that could be something that's kind of fun. You could get caught for getting each other off in public, but no one can see because it's in your pants.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I would get some more information from him, but I would not put yourself in a situation that doesn't feel comfortable for you. But I think you guys can find some things. And I also want to know what you want, Wendy. I know you want to please him, but what would be hot for you? What's your fantasy? Maybe there's a way to incorporate both. 2 for 1.
Yeah. I never thought about anything like that.
Well,
it's just, it's becoming more daring for him. Like, before it was just like, oh, maybe like it just happened that, he got excited at this moment and then we just went for it. But now it's becoming like
every time?
Habit of him.
Every time? Yeah. Well, Wendy, how does that feel?
Like I said, it's something like it would be like maybe like once to try, like just to, get out of the way. But now it's becoming more, like.
It's escalating. Yeah. And that could be like, I want to make sure that you have boundaries around this and that it's okay not to fulfill all of his stuff because it's dangerous. You could get arrested. If he has this, like, I want to keep, upping the ante, he probably has like that, thrill. He gets a thrill for, breaking the law, for taking risks, high risk taking behaviors. It's actually it's a character trait, like people who take high risks in other areas and stuff. Like he drives a fast truck, maybe he does all these things. All I'm telling you is that I want you to figure out what you like and don't let him push you to a point where it doesn't work out for you. So just to make sure you take care of your needs, Wendy. Thanks for calling. I think it's a really good time when your partner starts making demands that don't feel great to you to remember that A, you have a choice. You don't have to do it. And B, what a great time to think about what would turn you on. Because I recognize in her being a pleaser, and I used to always want to do what my partner wanted. And I'm like, what about me? This is what I like. Hey, what if we both get turned on? How about that? Okay, let's talk to James, 39 in West Virginia. Hi, James. Thanks for calling. What's going on? Hi.
Well, so I've been married. Me and my wife have been married for almost 17 years. And I love going down on her. But it seems like the only way that I can get her off that way is if I blow on her clit.
All right.
With my lip.
Cool.
Well, after a while, my lips get numb, and it's like sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't.
Like doing the motorboat, like that.
Yeah.
Got it. So that's the only way. Okay. So have you ever tried anything else? Have you ever tried a vibrator? Have you tried your fingers?
Yeah, we use toys and stuff, but I was trying to find another way orally to do it because, I enjoy it as much as she does.
Right, but it takes a while. I would say, have you bought toys? Have you bought the womanizer?
We haven't bought that. No, she prefers little bullets. I bought her one that's probably 3 inches long.
Okay.
It's rechargeable, waterproof, all that stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. So does that work too? I'm trying to think what else you could. Yeah, could you use your fingers with the vibrator? Could you use your mouth and then use a toy and then go back with your mouth? Are you looking for totally other ways? You mean like different, honestly, it's fingers, mouth, hands, toys, using lube. She could rub up against you, on your leg. She could. I'm trying to think of what else. That's pretty much what you do. Have you ever gone down on her, over her underwear? Over it? Sometimes there's a really cool sensation where you breathe on it. You could breathe warm air and it really stimulates all her nerve endings.
Yeah, years ago.
Well, try it again. Doesn't mean it expired. I know. I feel like it's a different sensation, the different kinds of underwear, lacy underwear or cotton underwear. It all feels really different. So it sounds like she just really likes clitoral stimulation. So I think playing, and all the toys are different. The womanizer is different than any other toy, or the Melt by WeVibe too is a great one for couples play. They're all great, but it's that suction, and it's a great holiday gift. I'm just telling you, everyone loves womanizer. If you love oral sex, she loves oral sex. It's the thing that I found, the one toy that I found that the most closely simulates oral sex.
Okay.
So check those out. Yeah. You're so welcome, James. I feel like for oral, like I'm trying to think, like, what am I not thinking? There's so many things, but it's really like your toys, your hand, your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
I clearly, like he says, like 17 years, he knows she's not going to orgasm through penetration. He'll get it. Play with some. They should go to a sex toy store together and go shopping. This is the other thing. If you're listening, it might be fun to go to a sex toy store near where you live and go shopping. And like kind of, here's a hot tip. If you go testing vibrators, if you test them on the tip of your nose, you can tell how it's going to feel on your clitoris. Fun fact. So maybe you could go pick out some fun gifts to play with. Oh, also some of that cooling stuff and like the stuff that you blow on.
Oh yeah, like System Joe has some really nice. We both did this for something.
I know. What's it called? The Jolt or the Jolt. And it's literally a jolt. It has like this tingling sensation that you get on your. I mean, so yeah, play with the senses.
Wow, I gotta find that because I know I have the It's Arctic is the cool one,
right?
And I miss that.
That's good shit.
Makes me go crazy.
We have like cinnamon or something. What is it? Hot. Jamie and I, right? We were doing we were testing it together.
Oh, we were doing for the podcast. We were doing an ad read.
We're doing an ad read. And we're like, oh, well, why don't we actually be using it? So I went in the bathroom. I put on my clitoris. This happens in our office. Jamie goes, puts on, and then we record the ad read and describe what we're feeling with this tingly sensation.
Yeah, it was real time.
I'm sure they heard from a lot of people in real time. It does work. It does work. Everything we talk about in the show, you can find at sexwithemily.com. And in the nav bar, just look at show notes. Everything we've talked about for the last year will be there. Okay, let's talk to Tim, 64, in Iowa. Hi, Tim. Thanks for calling and for holding.
Hi, thanks for taking my call.
Of course.
Hey, I got it's like a topic maybe you could expound on. I don't have the issue, but like to educate men on how to treat women that have had sexual, rapes or molesting or something.
Trauma.
I just thought it'd be something interesting, that you could share with your.
Oh, sure. Listeners. Did you have a specific question, or do you want me to just talk about it? You want to take it offline, or did you want? Okay.
Yeah, I'll just take it offline.
Okay.
I just thought it'd be a good topic.
It's a great topic, and we've touched on it, but
a lot of women.
Absolutely, I will get into that now. Thanks, Tim. Great topic. Okay, so if you are with a partner, man or woman, who's had sexual trauma, the first thing is, if they've shared that with you, you just have to, be comforting and be empathic. But I have to tell you, the only way, if you have sexual trauma, the only way that I've seen that helps you kind of move it through your body and not have it be controlling your sex life and your decision making and all these things is therapy. Because otherwise, a lot of these sexual situations are still going to be charged for you. It's still going to be like, oh God, you could be raped or sexually molested when you're like a young kid, and then at like 35, 40, you're having sex and it's still triggering. So for what I've found the most help is different kinds of therapy, and particularly EMDR therapy is a therapy that has helped so many people with trauma, and it uses bilateral brain stimulation. And what that means is you're talking to a therapist while reliving the trauma, and then it rewires your brain so things no longer charge you as much. That you don't have that response. So that's one thing. As far as how to treat someone, I think it's just like with respect and love and understanding. And if they need to go slow, you go slower. If there's things that are off limits, they're off limits. Allowing them to share their grief around it and talk about it. I think that's how you support someone, but also gently, kindly move them towards therapy. If it's still, because I assume that Tim's asking, and anyone would be curious about this because it's probably, something that's an issue in the relationship. How that usually manifests is people just shut down sexually, or maybe they have pain during sex, or maybe they're not very adventurous in bed, or they want the lights off, or, all these things could be a result of unwanted, sexual tension or trauma. So I really think that's kind of hard for us on our own to get rid of, to kind of make it go away, even though we think, like usually how we all deal with trauma or something horrific that happens to us is we shove it down. Like we shove it down deep because we do not want to feel it. We don't want to talk about it. And it's this further I push it down there, the more that I numb it, and the more years that go by, well, it won't live there anymore. I've killed the demon. But unfortunately with things like trauma, it's not that easy.
So if you're with someone though and you find out they like finally feel comfortable letting you know, hey, I went through this trauma, blah, 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 so I have some problems with things. Like, if they're like, how long, like, can you wait? Like, if they are like trying to work through it, but they're actually not taking those steps, like, I would feel so bad to break up with someone that's had that, but if they're not doing anything about it.
Well, I think it depends on what the thing is. But yeah, I think it's really hard to be with someone who isn't in a growth mindset, who doesn't want to be constantly working, not constantly. Okay. I know it's like a little aggressive, but they don't want to kind of work through things that are troubling them, whether it be a death in the family or losing a job or abuse, any kind. Like you really, it helps you in every other area of your life. So if you're with someone who doesn't want to do the work, but then they're withholding sex or they're not able to connect with you intimately, I think you can only stay as long as you can stay. But I think it gets really frustrating after a while when you're with someone and you want them to get help and they don't. So I think everyone has to decide how long is too long.
I just feel like, because I would feel like such a dick.
Well, I think that if you were someone who was really heartfelt with your partner, said, you know what, babe, I really think it's so important. Our intimacy is so important for us and for me to feel connected to you. And I realize that when you're really shut down for the last 3 years and not only, I feel like sex has become less and less frequent and you've had a lot of pain and I don't feel like we're really connected anymore because we haven't had sex in months or we barely do, or when we have sex, you cry. I mean, whatever it is, like, and I need to figure out a way that we can continue to, I can go with you to therapy. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I think, no, you're not going to abandon them after trying, but I get what you're saying. It's tricky, but actually, like, I'm going to go back to something I said earlier in the show. Sometimes the people that leave us or hurt us are the people where we actually have to wake up and learn our lessons. Sometimes we're finally ready after it happens too many times. Someone leaves us. We break up. It's another bad relationship. We're repeating the patterns over and over and over again. You're like, okay, finally, I've had enough. You know what? Maybe it's not that I'm dating a bunch of weirdos or assholes or jerks or bitches. It's that there's something going on with me. Thank you, everyone, for supporting the show, telling your friends, posting about it. I love getting all of your messages, your tweets, Instagram, all those things. And if you also rate us, review us, wherever you listen, that really helps the show. So just 5 stars, leave a comment on iTunes. That really helps. I appreciate you all. Thank you for listening. And thank you to my incredible team. I love you. Ken, Kristen, Elisa, Brian, our interns, producer Jamie, and Michael. Was it good for you? Email me, feedback@sexwithemily.com.